Hello everyone, and today I want to address the issue of stage anxiety, stage fright. It's a very complicated issue, and obviously I can't solve the problems or talk very deeply into it. But if I had one fundamental advice to you, if you're suffering, well, we're all suffering from anxiety, by the way. If you're suffering from debilitating anxiety, let's call it this way, and you just see that you're practicing a lot in inside your practice room, but it doesn't come out in when you go on stage, or you feel it doesn't come out as you go on stage, then I'm going to give you one fundamental advice that seems ridiculous at first. I do, but I will explain. Um, the What happens to you on stage has to do with psychology, but to overcome anxiety, what you must have is a good technique. And when I'm saying a good technique, means a technique good enough to function and give you answers even when you are not physically and emotionally in your 100%. And not only this, it needs to address and cancel the problems that you have that manifest themselves in a physical way. For example, if you have a trembling bow, then you're going to go on stage to the rest of your life and feel excited and feel anxiety as well. But if your technique is good enough, your body trembling is going to be canceled by the way you hold the bow and the way you distribute weight and the way that you control the motion. So even if I'm going on stage and I know that even if I'm starting getting an adrenaline rush and starting to shake, I can control the sound with my hand. That means actually I'll be less anxious. That's the idea. Because we are really scared of losing control, which what happens if we don't have a good enough technique to help us in time of need, not in the practicing room. We are all great in the practice room, but when you go from the practice room to the stage, the difference between the practicing room and the stage is the difference between doing shadow boxing and stepping into a boxing ring with an opponent. That is the difference, okay? There's some correlation, but sometimes there isn't. You need to actually really prepare yourself very well. But the second, let me give you another advice, is that whatever happens, you must eventually walk into the boxing ring again and again and again. Even if you lose, if you get punched, even if it hurts, again and again and again. And I've often asked students who come off the stage and saying, oh, I feel this and this, and said, well, if you had a chance to go again, would you do it better? And 99%, if not 100%, said, oh yeah, let me go on stage now, I'll do better. And I think that's the idea, that you do it again and you do it again. You don't run away from the stage, you go on the stage to test yourself. Going back to my first point, you need to basically write yourself down what happens to you when you go on stage. Let's go through this. Take a piece of paper and write what happens to you on stage. It's a breathing problem. Let's say you are out of breath, or you're feeling very, very tense, or you shake, or you sweat. Okay, and sweating is actually a big problem that I cannot address right now, but it has to do with your heart rate, and you need to actually control your breathing. And then you need to figure out, and you and your teacher need to figure out, what are the exercises that you must do in order for you to cancel the manifestations in the practice room. So for example, if you get tense up, right? So I will say, give yourself exercises to first of all play full on but with less tension, and then give yourself exercise that if you're feeling you're getting tense, you stop and release. Feeling you're getting tense, you stop and release. And then when you're playing on stage, suddenly you're feeling getting tense, and you take that physical manifestation down technically. And this will help overcome the problem that you might encounter on stage. I hope that helps. I happily hear and read your remarks, and if you talk to you, and talk back to me. It's great. If you have more questions about this, I'm happy to answer them.